I was listening to my master's audio. It was 1 hour. Yesterday I had a free time. So I listened to that 1 hour audio at least 5 times. One concept was not becoming clear, it was not going into the head. 5 times means 5 hours. After listening, the things became so clear. One thing. Second thing, that the mind reveals so many other things in life about thought, about speech, and about action. And that resulted into a new level of awareness about that concept. In one way, we can say that is what is contemplation and reflection. You heard it, you became clear of one point. You listened it again, it became clear. So that is why I always say that one should listen to it again and again and again and again. Why we study, why we listen, and why we listen from the teachers. We listen from the teacher because Eastern wisdom, and the teacher has to teach from the text. The Eastern wisdom text are like a mirror. Mirror means what? Where I can see my real self. I can see my real self through the knowledge of the Eastern wisdom by a teacher. And well, if you start writing and expressing yourself, it makes you little more wiser. Come back. What was the metaphor? Do you remember? I believe you remember. The metaphor is basically a symbol, an image, a comparison, a simile. Help us vividly visualize unfamiliar concepts, unfamiliar to the mind. And it also explains the unfamiliar situation meaningfully. So the metaphor gives a meaning, gives a level of awareness to us. No, like a metaphor of a spider. The entire house of a spider comes from the spider itself. The same way we say everything manifests from one consciousness. Everything, or even matter, yes. Matter, but matter is unconsciousness because there is no medium. That medium is not able to reflect that consciousness. Otherwise, it is also a manifestation of the consciousness, which we call unconscious. Are you getting it? So, out of that metaphor, we understood there are three basic things. One is the pure consciousness. That consciousness gives itself to the mind, it becomes a reflected or a borrowed consciousness. And from that in that borrowed consciousness, this world appears. I see you. I see you. So who is this I? One part of the mind. You, second part of the mind. And the knowledge of the mind that I know you is the third part of the mind. It is all the mind. The world is created by the mind. It hides the pure consciousness. It hides the real self. So we say you are different from me, you are smarter than me, huh? And a long list of attributes, characters, behavior, they all manifest in the mind. So, mind and the world. The Buddha says that the entire world that you see is created by the mind. That was perhaps more or less like that expression. What do you mean? When I say I am stressed, mind has created it. Real self is untouched. Am I worthy of suffering? Mind says yes. Real self says nothing. It says, okay, when you claim that you are worthy of suffering, so continue to suffer. So we say three things in a metaphor. Reflected consciousness. For the time being, say that it is the mind. Reflected consciousness. One. And what happens in that reflected consciousness is the world. So, do you remember the metaphor, the fourth stage of a metaphor, the different colors, different people on a painted canvas? That is the world. But that is visualized on the reflected consciousness. Fact is that the canvas is only one. Where is Brandy? Where is Sam? Where is Samit? They all are names. So when I say, where is Sam? Still that name triggers, here I am. But you are not the name. Are you the name? Are you the form? So first, where is Sam? The name, here I am. So when the moment you say, here I am, you are referring to the body. But you are not the body. I forget this. This is what the reflected consciousness does. Are you getting it? I am stressed. I am not. I am the mind. I am not. I am the body. I am not. But the mind claims that this I am the body. You see that, I know even it's a cold there in New York City. Terry has a cap that's good, but Terry has a cap for another reason also. No, no, it's okay. It's okay. Don't show. We have already. For another reason also. Identification is there. This teacher says, understand who you are. Who we are? We are real consciousness. We are real self. Not real consciousness, real self. We are pure consciousness. That pure consciousness is not the part, property, product of anything. So, where we see the part, product, and property in the mind. So, part, property, and product creates the entire world. How do I see that I'm different from Terry? So we talk about the habits and attributes and the gender and the age and the color. Where they live? They live in the mind. It is all like I told you before, it's all like the buckets of water. 10 buckets full of water, sun is reflecting, So in one bucket, the water is moving, so the sun reflects differently. Angle is different. The sun reflects differently in 10 buckets of water, and we claim this is me. In that consciousness, in that consciousness, there is one reflection which is named as Girish, another is named as Sam, third is named as Brandy. That is why we say, no, I'm also conscious, you are also conscious, so there are two consciousnesses. No, there is only one. No, everything is okay, but I'm little more intelligent than you. You see that? I'm little more intelligent than you. I'm little more beautiful than you. I'm talking of my attribute, and that attribute belongs to the mind. It does not belong to me. Whether you say I'm more intelligent or I'm more crazy than you, both attribute belongs to the mind. We we are carried away by these attributes of the mind, and then we suffer. One of the attributes that I'm stressed, I have a lot of stress. When you say that I'm little more intelligent than you, I say, do you have a stress? Yes, every day. Okay, that's why you are more intelligent than me. The stress, suffering, all belongs to the mind, not belongs to the me. I'm coming. I give an example of TV screen. TV screen last week, perhaps, or 2 weeks ago. Movies going on, nothing happens to the TV screen, everything is happening, but on the TV screen. But whatever is happening is not touching the TV screen, it is a reflected consciousness, it is the mind. You switch off the TV, TV screen comes up again. Same thing, that pure consciousness. That is why I use the word pure consciousness. Nothing happens to this pure consciousness. Untouched. We demand, we need an understanding. Again and again, you are listening, you're listening, 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 and you are there in that level of awareness. You are in that level of awareness. Hollywood actor plays a role of a criminal and still you love. Ah, wonderful acting. Do you see that? Ah, he played or she played a role beautifully. What we need to do in the world, play our role, be happy. We don't want to play our role. We say, this is I am. So this is I am, then you suffer. So here is the problem that last week also we covered. That first thing to understand that this one becomes many. Why the metaphor? The one consciousness, one canvas. Then there is a reflected consciousness in the mind. The mind visualizes the different people on the painting. That is the world. So we forget that canvas is only one, it is one pure consciousness. We remember the reflected consciousness, the mind. The mind divides itself into three. That three creates many. What are the three? I give an example. I know Terry. So first division is I. Where lives this word I? In the mind. I know you, Terry. So where lives the Terry? In my mind. Huh? A little different. Huh? You can think of the mind is just like a room. So here I live, the world I, here the Terry lives, and in between there is an office. All are living in mind. So one becomes multiple, one becomes many. We forget one. The master says that we are given a free intellect and a higher self awareness are the gifts to the human being. Did we know that we will be born as a human being? We are blessed. We are gifted. Otherwise, you see I told you last time, mosquito sits on my shoulder. Why we say it is a mosquito and why I say that it is because of the human body. Do you see anything inside the mosquito? By the body, we recognize fly or a mosquito, huh? Or a spider, by the human body. So human body is gifted with this free intellect and a higher self-awareness. It is only in the human body I can recognize, I can realize, I can discover who am I. No other body, no other living species can ever find who am I. So instead of searching who am I, oh, I have a lot of stress in my life, as if the existence has only chosen you to carry the burden of the stress in your life. You're special. Our master says, the moment you think like this, you are a special guy or a girl. So, with that understanding from the metaphor, the consciousness is one, reflected consciousness is the second, manifestation of the word in that reflected consciousness is the third. I believe I have been repeating it for a couple of weeks. If you did not understand, you need to contemplate it again. Go back to those talks. So this master says, now answer the question, what is the distance between the reflected consciousness and the pure consciousness? There is no distance. Where there is reflected consciousness, there is pure consciousness. How do you say that? I'm conscious of brandy means what? The moment I say I am conscious of brandy, brandy is the name, I also is the name coming from the mind. What is left? The left is consciousness. Oh, so there is no difference. There is no distance between the consciousness and the reflected consciousness. Do you see that? Did you understand that point? I am conscious of the wall behind Stephen. So pay attention. Stephen is an object. Any object is always perceived by the mind, reflected consciousness. Stephen is an object perceived by my mind. I is also an object. But in between, there is a conscious. There is no difference. There is no distance. There is a big difference. There is no distance. Do you see the meaning of difference and distance? There is a difference between The pure consciousness and the reflected consciousness. Reflected consciousness is the mind, pure consciousness, no change. That is what the canvas is. But what is the distance between the two? There is no distance. There is no distance. Yes. Where there is pure consciousness, there is reflected consciousness. Or you can say otherwise, where there is a reflected consciousness, where there is moonlight, there is sun. So there we can see the distance, but here there is no distance. What the masses master gives. Mind says, I am. Mind says, I know, Stephen. It is the mind which is saying. And then add this understanding that, what is that? Reflected, the mind is distance between the mind and the pure consciousness. There is no distance. So it means when I say, I know, Stephen, real self is present here. Did you get it? No? I don't get it. Where there is wave, there is water. That is why we always give that example. Where there is a wave, where there is a clay pot, there is a clay. Can you conceive clay pot without clay? Clay pot? Yes. So if I ask you, where is the clay pot? And you show me the top. No, it's clay. Show me the clay pot. Clay pot is the name. You will never be able to show me the clay pot. That is the confusion we live with it. Now, where are you? Where are you? I'm at my home. So show me. Where are you? No, I'm here. This is your head. Where are you? No, I'm here. This is your heart. Where are you? Huh? You see the confusion? We take it easy. Okay, take it, I know I'm the body. I'm the mind. I'm a stressed guy. I'm suffering all the time. Come on, first find out where you are. The way we cannot find the clay pot, we see the clay pot, but we cannot find the clay pot because everything is clay. Where are you? Here. I'm consciousness here. Behind that part of the body, consciousness is not the part, product, and property of anything. Wave is not water is not a part, property, and product of a wave. Did you understand what I'm saying? Pay attention. What do you see? Come on. I'm intelligent. I see the hand. No. You don't see the hand. You see the light on my hand. Am I clear? What I see, brandy? No. I see the light on the brandy. Can I live into that awareness? Can I see what I see? I see the Sam. No, I see the light on the Sam. Light on the Sam. Now, even if the Sam is not present in a session, light is still there. Light is not the part, property, and product of Sam. When we live into that awareness, we bypass the reflected consciousness, we transcend the mind. And when we transcend the mind, You live into that awareness. J. Krishnamurti said, it is an extraordinary awareness. We say it is pure consciousness. You can name it. It is the real self. You see that when I said that, do you see, what do you see? The hand? No. You see the light on the hand. So that light is independent of the hand. Are you clear? That light is not a part, product, and property of the hand. Are you clear? When there is no hand, the light is still there. When there is no body, light of the consciousness is still there. It never takes birth, it never dies. Mano buddhir ahankara chittani naham nacha shrutra jivhai nacha ghrana netre nacha vyoma bhumir natejo navayu. You, in that field of awareness, you recognize I'm not the body, I'm none of these five elements, I'm none of these five sense organs and the motor organs, I'm the pure consciousness. What practice you need? You don't need it to do any practice. When there is a hand, there is a light. There is no hand, there is a light. There is the wave, there is a water. There is no wave, there is still the water is still there. I'm coming back to the same thing, distance and difference. Did you understand? There is a difference. When I see that you are different from me, reflected consciousness. When I see we both are one, we are one, we are pure consciousness. Distance and difference. So now, Master further goes and Master says, did you understand that? Yes, I understood. The light in the hand, whether the hand is there or not, the light is already present. Light is not the part, product, and property of the hand. Consciousness is not the part, product, and property of this crazy guy, the weird guy. It is independent. Clear? Yes, clear. So if it is clear, then the master says, do you recognize that ignorant perceive I in the mind and the pure consciousness as one, and the wise perceive I am in the mind and the pure consciousness are two different entities. What did I say? What is discernment? Separate. Separate I am from the real self. Where? All the time. When? When? All the time. Where? In all locations. We know husband is different from the man, wife is different from the girl. Don't we know? But we forget to separate. When we forget to separate, then the husband fights with the wife, the man does not fight with her. Or a woman does not fight with her. Do you see that? I'm a man to you, you are a woman to me. Okay. But the moment we relate, we build a relationship, we forget that I'm the real self. So I forgetfulness, mind says, this is what I always want, you to forget. Why? I'll give you stress, suffering. I'll create likes and dislikes, I'll create delusion. And then you have to live into that delusion which causes the suffering. Do you remember distance and difference? There is no distance between, is there any distance between the man and the husband? Can you show me? No, there is no distance. But through the knowledge in the mind, I discern, I separate it. Moment you separate, you are happy. So the master, after making us understand, it comes that ignorant perceive. Now are you clear? I am in the mind, and the real self is behind. I am is a reflected consciousness, and real self is behind. Clay pot, I gave an example, a clay pot, wave to the water, that is what? We are one wave to one pure consciousness. One more thing. In this verse number 10, he is pointing, we are in the verse number 10. I told you maybe after 17 and 18th verse, then this master goes and explaining in detail in more than I think 250 verse. This is you are. And while listening, you are awake. You realize that is the journey. So, okay, now understand that we discerned what happens. What happens? It will blow your mind. Whether you believe it or not, it's your problem, not mine. But more you contemplate, your mind will realize this. So I discern the reflected consciousness with the pure consciousness. What is that reflected consciousness? It is the conscious mind. So when I say I'm a man and women, oh, it's a conscious mind. I'm crazy, it's a conscious mind. Now I'm relaxed, it's a conscious mind. I'm suffering, it's a conscious mind. No, I'm an individual, it's a conscious mind. What do you mean? I'm the body, it's a conscious mind. After all, it is the conscious mind that recognizes, gives you a cognition. That is why you say, I am the body. When I say real self is not the part, product, and property of anything, reverse this. Mind is a part, product, and property of everything. So where I find the part, product, and property, conscious mind recognizes the three levels, the physical level, through the sense organ, the subtle level, through the mind. That is why we say it's a reflected consciousness. We recognize the causal body. It is all conscious. No, I am an individual. It is conscious mind. You remove the conscious mind, you differentiate in your head. You are here, you have recognized, you know what is real self and what is the reflected consciousness. You live into that state. And that takes you to what every master is talking about awakening. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed. You just for the sake, you are closing the eyes, not for the sake of the practice. Eyes are closed. Eyes is a part of the body. Who recognized it? Conscious mind. So tell me, conscious mind means consciousness plus mind. You have already distanced yourself in the knowledge. You have discerned. What? Yes. Now see, look at the shoulder joints. Okay, look. What do you mean by look? Look means awareness. Awareness of the shoulder joint. Oh, shoulder joint is a part, product, and property of the body. Yes. Who recognizes the mind? So whatever is being recognized by the mind is a part, product, and property. Behind that, there is one awareness. Awareness cannot be divided. Consciousness cannot be. Just see that. Discern. Differentiate. I should say differentiate. Let me use that word. No, you're saying differentiate, at least, no, I have to do something. No, you're not doing anything. When I see you all in a session, do I plan to differentiate? No, in the field of awareness, filtered by the mind, recognizes you as different people. Filtered, or you can say reflected by the mind. Otherwise, one. So I did nothing. I just become aware inside. Difference in distance. I just explained to you. Oh, just for this only one thing? You told me that you look at the shoulder joint, that deeper explanation? Yes. That is how we get the knowledge. And then I say, look at the shoulder joint and then experience sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Hold on, because you are doing a self inquiry. So you said sensation, sensation. Yes. Who recognizes the conscious mind? Where? In the shoulder. Oh. Part, product, and property? Who recognizes the mind? But what is that one thing by which, if that is absent, no recognition takes place? Consciousness. The consciousness is different from the shoulder joint, from even the sensation, from the comfort, from the experience of steadiness. What I'm doing, no, I'm not doing anything, I'm discerning. I just recognize the way I recognize Randy is different from Stephen. The same way I recognize shoulder joint is different from consciousness. The experience of sensation is different from the consciousness. Experience of steadiness in the shoulder joint is separate and different from the consciousness. No, only no, previously you used to say that just look at the shoulder joint and experience the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. No, yes, in those days, in those sessions, we were ignorant. Ignorant of what? Ignorant of the reflected consciousness and the consciousness are one. Now we know they are two. I'm living wisely. We are not doing anything. We are just, or for the sake of the using the verb, we are understanding, my friends. What a okay. This is what you say. Let me check it again. Help me to check. So look at the hip joint. Hold on. So when I say look at the hip joint, in our conscious mind, I'm repeating, In our conscious mind, there is already an I thought. That I thought looks at the hip joint that is the other than I. So in the conscious mind, there are two places. One place is the I am. Second place is the object that is the hip joint. What do you mean? They both are in the conscious mind? Yes. And then what I said? Experience. All experiences takes place in the mind. What? So there is the third point in the conscious mind. As you point out in a map, here is US, here is India, here is Europe. Same way, one globe. We differentiate. We say, I am different than you. I am different from the body. Oh, so when I say experience, sensation, comfort, and steadiness, what do you mean? That is also part of the mind? Yes. At one place in the mind, I thought. Second place in the mind, hip joint. Third place in the mind is experiences. Fourth place is the sensation. Fifth place is comfort. Sixth place is steadiness. The mind keeps on dividing, multiplying, reflected consciousness. So when you say there is a stress, that is also one place in the mind. I thought is also there. Experience is also there. My God, so, but I'm not the mind. I told you difference and differentiation, distance and difference. There is no distance between the conscious mind and pure consciousness. You cannot. But in the knowledge, we can separate them by discernment. That is how the word discernment is being used. In, uh, in our Eastern wisdom, in Sanskrit, we say chit and chitta. Chitta is the mind, and chit is the pure consciousness. They are very close. Sat Chit Ananda and chitta. We get carried away by many. Where is many? Oh, there, Brandy, there, Stephen. There are a lot of people are attending my session. Lot. You see the multiplication. Multiply. Where they are located in the mind. There is nothing at all. No need to practice. The mind creates an I thought. So when it creates an I thought, then there are others also. When I say I know you, it means you are not me. Object is not me. House is not me. Car is not me. Body is not me. What do you mean? I am and I am not. Both are present in the mind? Yes. And their properties? Yes. Otherwise, Master says, ignorant perceive I am and the real self as one. So I am present in the mind takes over Mind says, I'm in stress, so you are in stress. Why you are in stress? Because that mind is looking at the physical body, at the mental body, at the causal body. Mind has no way to look at what is behind it. Moon has no way to look at the sun. When the wave looks at the water, the wave finds there is water. There is, I am not. What do you mean? When the wave wants to search where the wave is, the wave only finds water. There is no wave in the water, but the wave came from the water. You see the causal body? That is what we discussed and understood in this metaphor of a canvas, starch canvas. Oh, causal body, yes, yes. Clay pot. The design, the concept of the clay pot at a casual level was already present in the clay. The pot maker came, he conceived, clay pot is ready. Why I said so? Stephen or Brandy or Sam or Samir or Girish by the name in the form, the clay pot name in the form. You are discerning. Name in the form is always different from the consciousness. You are listening, you are discerning, you see that separation. So, clay pot, I want to know where it is a clay pot. So it becomes easy for me to see that everything is clay in the clay pot. The clay becomes invisible and I only see the clay pot. That is the delusion. I see only my body, I don't see the real self which is already here. And now I don't see. So I don't see ignorance. Is it not here? Yes, it is here. I don't see the light that is independent of the hand. I just gave an example. Only the discernment is required. Again, I'm feeding your mind the distance and the difference. Distance, no distance between the reflected mind and the pure consciousness. Difference, yes, big difference. Moonlight does not exist. Fact is that it is the light of the sun. I gave you light of the consciousness. That is the beauty of the teachings of the Eastern wisdom. So mind says, what should I do now? That idea of being a doer is created by the mind, otherwise, the real self has to do nothing. What? Yes. So I am a non-doer? Yes. A non-doer? Then how can I live? Let the mind live. Let the actor live in the Hollywood film. The person doesn't live. Any experience taking place, it is happening in the mind. It is a part, it is a product, it is a property. Yeah, there is just an awareness. Even I am refraining saying that you are aware. There is an awareness. Reflection is there on the mind. That is why it is a conscious mind. So just maybe I can say, imagine this conscious mind is like a big plate. So at one place there is a reference I am. That is what we recognize I am. In the same plate, that is the conscious mind. When you say I know you, that idea, that thought, that feeling, that recognition of you is also there in the mind. Now add the attributes. I say you are good, you are bad, or I am stressed. That is also in the same plate. That plate is conscious mind. What do you mean? Everything is happening there? Yes. So there is no individuality? Yes, there is no individuality. It is created by the mind. So this master says ignorant perceive the conscious mind and the consciousness are one. Wise knows they are two. You know it. You don't do any practice in mindfulness. But to reach there, we have to contemplate and reflect. We have to understand. We have to become a seeker. Until we are a seeker, we have to do larger practices. The moment you are a seeker, you need not to. You simply need to understand. Okay, I will understand for an hour with you, and after that, I will not recognize the difference. So you are already out of that state. But then why it happens? Because I'm attached. I have a delusion. I identify myself with only one. No difference. There is no distance. That is very well understood. But I don't see there is a difference. When we say there is no there is no difference, then I suffer. Who is this I? I told you, need to teacher waits for a seeker. How can you teach these principles to the novice, to the beginners? Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. How are you, Stephen?
Good, thank you. I apologize for being late there. Um, Usually the Saturdays lessons are I spend a lot of time contemplating and reflecting while it's going on, and it didn't happen today. Now observing that, I'm wondering whether that's because I missed half of it. So, but I got the concept of difference and distance and whatnot. But when you said close our eyes, I immediately went to the heart center, and your voice just continued to just fade into the distance, and it was as if I was in that last part of our meditation that we do on Mondays and Thursdays. Um, so, post coming out of it, it was like, wow, that was very different, but quite enjoyable. So, thank you.
Yes, yes, even when you say I apologize, that comes from the mind. So there is no I here who gives an apology or who takes it. So you see that these thought structure, we should use it. We should definitely use it in the empirical word of relationship in the society, but we keep that awareness of the difference is there. Well, how to know that difference? It is through the discernment. And the moment we have that discernment, everything is clear. Another part is very important. Sometimes the moment we close our eyes, the mind appears to go into the heart center. Yes. So, there, if it goes very deep inside, it is able to discern also. Beautiful. How are you, Brandy?
Good morning. I'm good, thank you. I was during the meditation, I was thinking about the closeness or the lack of distance between um, matter and consciousness. And I
Yeah.
was thinking about how, you know, how you hear about when people get sick and then they they'll go to the doctor and then they go back and they're like completely healed and it's a miracle.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the relationship with the closeness of
Yeah.
consciousness and matter when it's unexplained like that, right? Like if they're not separate, that's how that, I mean, you know, that's how that has to work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know. It was an interesting way for me to understand that.
Yes, matter and the consciousness. What happens that this consciousness is unchanging. It is not the part, product, and property of anything. But what happens, the consciousness borrows some property of the matter. In ignorance, we say, I am suffering. Same way, the matter borrows some properties of the consciousness, and we see the change in the matter. So that change in the matter, we claim it is a miracle. Not a big deal once we understand it clearly. So, yes, how are you, Sam?
I'm good. The space for me was very, very quiet. Um, just followed your voice and easy.
Easy. Yes, it should remain easy 24 by 7 from today. From today onward. Then life is easy. How are you, Samir?
Sir, I was lying down and sensation was flowing throughout my body. It was totally effortless listening to you and just what you were saying, instructions. And I was happy in the end, enjoyed it.
Good. Good when we were happy, and obviously we are into that state. Discernment is the key. How are you, Terry?
I was well, I was just a few minutes late, and I was really focused on following what you were saying and understanding,
Good.
trying to understand. And but then I was aware of everything, the room, myself,
Yeah.
um, and the space. And I just wanted to go into the space
Beautiful.
mostly.
Yeah. Yes. The mind has an idea that the space is always one. So we want it to, when the mind finds that we want to be into that one space, obviously, we are into that deeper state. So we have two more people. Vaibhav, how are you?
Sir, I'm fine. It's like that what I see from the mind is just the reflection. So it's today it's some kind of thoughts and it's reflected in certain ways. Tomorrow it will get changed and it will have some different reflections. From that, if I can separate myself, then I will be in a very steady state and remains calm all the time.
Yes, that is what the canvas, the metaphor is. The canvas is there, and we are taking the sand. The reflected consciousness brings into itself the changes that is taking place. All the changes. So that canvas remains one. We perceive the changes on the same canvas at a superficial level. So once we understand that, what happens? There is no conditioning from the society, from the culture, from the religion, from the dogma, from the belief and the we enjoy our freedom. Very good. So we are left with, you see that? We continue to talk. When I'm saying I'm left with conscious mind, it's happening in the conscious mind. We are left with the shock. Yes, the shock.
Good, sir. Light and peace.
Who is talking? Ashok, it's coming from your no.
So maybe the book did I don't know, but for Shukya. So
Oh,
No, it's okay. Now I muted it. Now you all are seekers. I want to say something. I think, but it is for everyone. Anyhow, Sam, and Stephen are already engaged in one book, and Brandy is engaged in other. And you have all the videos available on the YouTube, and starting this series from the seeker perspective. So I told you in the very beginning of a session that yesterday I had a free time. I'm summarizing even for Stephen joined the late. So I heard one audio, and that was from totally another text, which we are going to cover. So mine says, I did not get it. It was 1 hour. I heard it again. I listened to the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time. And ultimately, it became clear. Because my basic concepts, basic principles are always clear for many, many years. So I can listen to it and I can relate it. So you pick up the video or the audio, you have all those audios, you listen to it. After listening, just make a point, make a para. I'm talking about to even Ashok and Sami. You start writing it. Because the more you write on it, the concept becomes very clear by writing. And listening again. And once you start writing, you, Ashok, and maybe Vaibhav and Samiti, you can start writing in Hindi. So when you write, you become clear. So that writing has a very deeper impact on our mind. So once, what will happen, you will start feeling that there is a tremendous change in our day-to-day journey. That is what every master